Join us as we uncover the symbols, the stories, explore the mysteries, the power, and the legacy of a kingdom that is still unfolding. This is a journey where history, prophecy, power, and people converge, and the story is still being written, from ancient kingdoms to the spaces where modern voices meet. Voices that refuse to be silenced, part of a heritage that continues to shape the present. The past is not dead, it lives, it speaks. And here, we listen, we reason, we respond, and we testify. We dive into ancient truths, symbols, and signs still relevant today. The scepter has not departed, the mystery is not lost, and the kingdom, it is still unfolding, one episode at a time. This is more than a podcast, it's a return to the source. Welcome to the Scepter of Zion, where ancient truths meet modern voices. And now, to conversations, truth, and power, the scroll begins to open. And here to guide us through the gates, your trusted voice and seasoned guide, a voice for the remnant, your host, Ruben B.
Well, welcome. So, got something I want to dive into, talk about. Before we dive into history, philosophy, or the secrets of the forgotten civilization, I need to address something important. Is this political, economic, or social statement? Could be, might. Is the universe telling us something? Anyway, none of this has anything to do with the Moors, the Hebrews, geometry, timeline, or sacred knowledge. Today, I need to address the scandal. It's a cosmic scandal, a universal crime happening right under our nose. I've done the calculation. I checked the cosmic clock. I even interviewed top professionals, not just any professional, but top professionals. But something suspicious is going on. Scientists call it perception. I call it the time thief. Some cosmic force out here is running a scam, stretching and squeezing our hours, a phenomenon where time behaves strangely. Time accelerates sharply, minutes disappear. Hours, they just collapse. The weekend dissolve almost instantly. So researchers blame the perception. Psychologists blame anticipation. But many quietly admit that's a distortion. It is if the calendars itself is kind of participating in this little cosmic joke. Hey, the joke is on you. That's what it's saying. Yet it affects everyone every week. Every week and everyone. A reminder that even in our modern world, time remains a force that refuses to be mastered. None of this, absolutely zero of this has anything to do with history, spirituality, or anything for cultures, for the struggle. Now that you're confused, just buckle up. That means that you're listening. Let's start the show. I was just going on this little tyrant rampage or whatever. Well, wait a minute. And just before we continue, I want to make this perfectly clear. Time is a real thief. And the most dangerous part, it doesn't just steal your money, your land, your history, or your legacy. It takes everything. This isn't conspiracy. This isn't mysticism. This is modern survival. The universal struggle of every working human being who swear they just blinked and somehow it's Sunday night again. we can just boom. So the scientists, they still researching. Politicians have no comments. The cosmic authorities, they've been suspiciously quiet. So if you feel your week is speeding up, your months are shrinking, your years are blurring together like an ancient timeline, rewritten at the last minute, you're not alone. You're simply living in a universe that refused to give refunds for stolen time. And with that, we return to our regular scheduled journey through civilizations, culture, and the ancient future. Because even cosmic crimes can't stop this broadcast, baby. And before we move forward, I need to warn you that there is a part of the time thief story that experts don't want to talk about. Because the truth isn't comforting. It's not inspiring. It's not poetic. Time just doesn't slip away. It's taken, extracted, harvested, like some invisible tithes we never agreed to pay. But dude, every lost hour feels like a design, a silent tax imposed by the cosmos, a shadow economy where the currency is your days and the collector never misses a payment. People think they're tired. They think they're overwhelmed. But what they really feeling is this gravitational pull of something feeding on the minutes we never live. Time is hungry and it's alive. So if you feel your life is accelerating, if you feel your days are collapsing into one another, understand, you're not imagining this. You're witnessing this silent predator that stalks every human being from the moment they're born into the last second fall. Now, if that didn't unsettle you, you're not paying attention. But the mystics would say, if time is slipping, it means a gate has opened. A curtain has shifted. A whisper from the ancient future is brushing against you today. And if you notice the distortion, it means you were meant to listen carefully. The universe is still speaking in Hebrew, in symbols, in silence. Okay, so now let's begin the show. Welcome to the Scepter of Zion. Man, I have a good show for you today. We're going to travel on over to Seville. Not that Cadillac Seville with the white walls, that 1976 model. We're not going to talk about that. But we're going to journey through this culture, this civilization, this ancient future. Yeah, that's where we're going with this. Dive into this lesson because it's good. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. I drifted past the chatter, past the headlines, past the noise that is shaped like truth, and the truth that is shaped like noise. And sometime in the silence calls my name. It wasn't a word, it was a tone, a vibration. Older than stone, older than empires, older than a fire that first taught humanity how to see in the night. I followed it out of habit, out of hunger, out of that ancient instinct that tells you when something's real, it's trying to find you. And the deeper I walked into that quiet, the more my mind shed its armor. The doubts, the stories, the borrowed opinions that never fit my spirit anyway. I couldn't deal with that. So, beneath the mental static, Beneath the clutter of thoughts, I caught it. It was a pulse, a tremor, a whisper, shaped like lightning. It was a frequency, not higher, not lower, just truth. It carried the scent of the old libraries and long closed temples. It echoed with the footsteps who walked through the deserts holding nothing but wisdom in the breath. And when that frequency touched me, I remember something, not with my mind, but with my bones. That we are not meant to stay stuck in the same emotional station, are tuned to the same channel of fear, doubt, and imitation. We are transmitters. We broadcast. We shift worlds by shifting wavelengths. It's like tuning a forgotten instrument. And suddenly everything's sharp. University of Seville. The Navigator School, the third torch of knowledge in our underlies. To understand Seville, you must understand the rhythm of knowledge in our underlies. So we talked about the University of Cordoba. It was the fountain. Toledo was the bridge. But Seville became the river that carried wisdom into the world. So when Cordoba collapsed in the 11th century, Toledo rose as the translation capital of Europe. The center of gravity shifted again southward, towards Africa, towards the Moors, towards Seville. The city, Ishbilia, was ancient long before the Moors even arrived. Founded by the Iberians, shaped by Romans, expanded by the Visigoths, and then transformed by the African Islamic Israelite civilization after 711 CE. But Seville Golden Age didn't begin until the 12th century, because two great African dynasties lifted it into its glory. The Almoravids, I think I'm pronouncing this right. Let me see, maybe she can pronounce it for me. Where you at, girl? Let's see, let her pronounce it.
Almoravid.
The Almoravid warriors of the desert. From today, Mauritania and Morocco. They were strict, disciplined, brilliant organizers. And they did three critical things. They stabilized the region, protected the libraries, because everybody wanted to burn down knowledge and destroy it. And so they preserved the Judeans, Israelite scholars, physicians, financiers, astronomers, Assyrians, who held the knowledge for centuries. These were descendants of the exiled Hebrews, African priesthoods, Egyptian mathematicians, and the Saharan star readers. They kept their voice alive. Then the Almohads, so the year that they were there was 1147 to 1236. The Almohads were another African dynasty. They were spiritually intense, intellectually rigorous, and deeply scientific. They moved the capital of Andalus to Seville, and what they built changed the world. Then and now. If you don't know what it was, you won't know what it is. I'm always say that. Under their rule, Seville became a palace city, a research city, a navigational city, a medical city, a poetic city, a city of scholars, astronomers, a city where African, Hebrew Israelites, and Arabic wisdom fused into one flame. They built all of this. This is incredible. They constructed observatories, schools, gardens of medicine, libraries, scriptola, which is basically a writing center, irrigation canals, and administrative buildings. Seville became the brightest star in Al-Andalus, the third torch after Cordoba and Toledo. And once again, African carried that flame. Yeah, intelligent. The tallest minaret Europe has ever seen. A minaret is a tall, slender tower attached to a mosque from which the call to prayer is made. They can also serve as a landmark, a beacon, a decorative architectural feature, symbolizing the presence of Islam. So Seville, this city, it was engineered with mathematical perfection. That's how you do it, with mathematical perfection. Seville, it flourished because its people chose unity over division. We should be doing that here. But there's so much division that's going on in this country that it is just, wow. Hey, so learn this lesson, America, the world, everybody all over the world, learn this, right? Flourish in unity, not division. So Hebrew, Arabs, and African communities, they live side by side, not in tension, but in mutual honor. Each group carried a different piece of ancient inheritance. You know, they put their egos aside to live in unity. We could do that here. It'd take a long time, though. I know. Streaming, I guess. But it can be done. It starts with you, the individual, first. And like I said, each group brought or carried with them a piece of ancient inheritance. Let's start with the Hebrew Israelites, the house of Judah that was there. They were physicians, mathematicians, translators, scribes, legal scholars, poets. They preserved Hebrew memory. They advised African rulers on ethics and administrative laws. So what did the Africans do? Master engineers, architects, irrigation specialists, navigators, map makers, they were medical practitioners, builders of astronomy or astronomical instruments. They brought the Sahara water technology, the Egyptian geometry ratio, the Kushite botanical medicine. What about these Arab scholars? What did they bring to the table? Philosophers, commentators, the writers of literature, the developers of logic and court procedures. They brought organizational structure, legal coherent, right? That's what they brought. All working together. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We're going to dive right back into some more of this lesson on Seville, this city of Seville, and show you just how dynamic it was, because it's really, really deep. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's get into this other half of our lesson today, or our information. So there were 4 simple principles that held Seville together, basically. 4 simple. 1, they believe in one creator, right? They honored learning. They had reverence for sacred texts and sacred information. They honored that. And believing that cooperating together, it brings about blessing. It really does. You can't just harbor all the wealth for yourself and not share it and not spread it around, right? It's meant to be shared. And it comes back tenfold. That's just the universal law of giving and receiving and receiving and giving. So, and under the African rules, they valued this knowledge. Seville became a peaceful powerhouse. Nothing but peacefulness everywhere. You don't want all this warring, this fighting, and it just bring about animosity when someone is jealous and just hating on you because of the peace you have within. I don't know why. Don't do it. Don't do it, people. Have peace in your life, people. Also, Seville was a place where the children of Shem, Ham, Japheth studied together again, just like they did in Toledo, just like they did in Cordoba, echoing the unity of the ancient world. Seville was a citywide university, just like Cordoba and Toledo. No campus, no single building. The entire city was a classroom. It was a city of learning. It was a city of knowledge. Yeah, isn't that just great? Just a city of wisdom, learning, knowledge. Seville also was a hub for star science, where these African engineers, they built these observatories for planetary motion, seasonal cycles, right? The path of the stars, and navigational bearing. How you gonna sail across this ocean? How you gonna sail across this sea? There's a method to it. So they had to use this Hebrew mathematician refined table to go about doing this. And the Arabs, you know what they did? They copied this chart. But you know what? It was all good because we shared it. So these maps, they eventually guided Portugal and Spanish sailors, proving that Africa and the Israelites were the silent architects behind this age of exploration, behind this age of navigation. Put it all in play for you so you can sail across this ocean. Yeah, we did. So, from Geralda and from Alcazar, these buildings in Seville, so they echo the Kush and the Kemet, this Egyptian designs. African irrigation transformed Seville into a garden city. These engineers that had engineers in degrees, well, it wasn't no degrees, but they just knew how to do things. Hydraulic engineering from the Sahara kept Seville green, right? Kept it just beautiful. While the rest of Europe just struggled, trying to keep their flowers and trees alive. we showed them how to do it. So Seville also inherited their Cordoba medical tradition. It expanded under the medical treatments, the medical ideology, the medical system, everything about medical expanded in Seville. The palaces, the gardens, they became the living medical classroom, introducing ideas from Kush, from the Nile, from the Red Sea, Hebrew healing traditions, citrus and mints. We introduced that. Yeah, you got these mints and citrus ideas from us. From us. And you know what? We don't mind sharing. We just don't. It's to benefit everybody. The whole world. So, if Cordoba was the philosopher's city full of philosophy, Toledo was the translator's city. Seville was the city for musicians. These African drums, these Hebrew portraits, the scales, the rhythm, it all blended together, creating the early seed of that flamenco and Spanish guitars. That's African rhythm, people, when you hear those Spanish guitars and that Spanish music. Yeah, that's where it came from. I'm bringing this knowledge right back to you. That's where it came from. Seville became a center of ethical debate, metaphysical reasoning, and we're going to have a class on that. Some of the stuff that they introduced in this metaphysical reading, because now, when you start talking about metaphysical stuff, it's coming to the light. It's coming in the forefront. It's a part of a topic in the conversation. Scientific commentary, Jewish prudence, political theory. It shaped North African scholarships for centuries. Yes, it did. So, in Giralda, it influenced the Renaissance towers, right? Alcazar, it shaped the European palace designs. Islamic gardens inspired Italy and France. And don't forget, we gave you this navigational chart that was rooted in Seville. That's where it came from. Hebrew and African and Arab arts defined Mediterranean identity. Now let's go back to this music. This Andalus orchestral music spread it from North Africa into the Ottoman world. Into the Ottoman world. So the Stones, they still speak. You could walk the city, you could hear Al-Andalus whispering. Yeah, you could hear it. Traces of the African hydraulic mastery is still visible there. Seville is not merely a tourist city. It's sort of kind of a living museum of the Al-Andalus. A testimony that the light of the Moors carried did not die. It moved from Cordoba to Toledo to Seville. The three torches of one flame. So let's back it up for a minute. These African engineers, they observed the heavens. These palaces use African and Hebrew Israelites geometry and Arcturianship. They taught you how to navigate along the towers and the rivers, and they gave you laws and scriptures and science, and they debated it. The Hebrew poets and scribes lived there. Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Or thank you for joining me on this journey into Seville. The third great center of knowledge in Al-Andalus, a city where African destiny or dynasties ruled. Scholars thrive, knowledge flow like a river. You know, there's more to follow in Seville, where it's gonna dive a little bit deeper. Coming to the end of our show. So, this is the Scepter of Zion. Follow me on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe, follow. Like, follow, subscribe, follow. Simple as that. Until next time, people, stay rooted in resilience.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Scepter of Zion. If something stirred your spirit, sparked a memory, or whispered truth into your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, speak it, walk in it. We invite you to invite others into the conversation, into the unfolding. This is more than a podcast. It's a movement returning to the root and rising with the call. Until next time, hold the line, guard the flame, and never forget who you are, because the kingdom isn't coming. It's already here and rising, one voice at a time.
You've been listening to The Scepter of Zion, a Kingdom of Shalom production. Subscribe, share, and join us as Zion rises again.